it's an example qualitative research presentation. Obviously, there will be, or you have a template currently, and it wouldn't be necessarily the same as this, but there's many different templates. So this is just another example of a qualitative research presentation, or how it would flow in another study. So I've made an example of a study which is not related to any study, but just a study that I've kind of imagined, I might say. And then just as an example, I'll show you guys how the presentation will flow, or what needs to go where. So as you can see, this would be my first slide, and my first slide would be my title and the overview of the study. And over here, the title of my study is Understanding Student Perceptions of Online Learning, a Qualitative Study. So this is my title. As you can see, the title. So your title should be able to tell you straight, what is it about? What is the study about? And what method are you using? As you can see there, it says a qualitative study. So someone who doesn't know, or because I mean, a presentation is for someone that's not you as the researcher, but the audience. So when they read your title, they should be able to understand, okay, the study that I'm about to see, or that's about to be presented, is about A, B, C, D, E. So, and what method is it? So it's also there. It says it's a qualitative study, and it's about understanding student perceptions. So what's my audience? My audience are students. So you could have a different audience based on your study. And what am I trying to understand? I'm trying to understand the perceptions of online learning. So that's where student and online learning interact. So online learning is kind of it could be a platform, or it could just be the concept of online learning. What are the perceptions of students? And so with qualitative study, it mostly is about understanding the perceptions, or what people think, or what people feel, more than your quantitative study would be about like the numbers. It would be your what. I'm just trying to think. So it would be your what is happening. Yes. So in a sense where you are within a business. So if you want to understand what or why, so what item is selling the most, that will be like a quantitative, or what item or color do you like the most, if you had to do a research among customers and say, out of these different t-shirts, what type of color would you want? And then the qualitative study will come into the why, to understand why did you choose the red color or the pink color. And then the person, hence it's about probing your discussion guide. So the person should speak freely and without any guidance, but it's about why do you like the pink color. So they could go on and talk about a bicycle they had when they grew up, which was pink, or them just liking pink in general, so which will be linked to lifestyle. You see, that's already a theme from just hearing what this person is talking about. If they're talking about um like their bed is pink or whatever, so it's more like a lifestyle choice for them to go for that color. So that's already a topic or theme, which is lifestyle. Lifestyle is a determinant of people choosing a color for a t-shirt, for an example. So see, I've already tried to give you guys an example of how you can also approach your own study in terms of what people say. It could be a lot of things, but it's good that you let people just express themselves, and then go back to your results or your data, and then you do your thematic analysis. So your first slide is also um, important, or the slide which will then have your title overview in a presentation for qualitative research study. So I would then, or if you had, you know, your template also had introduction, so you would then talk about the introduction of the research study. So in academics, even if you're writing a thesis, this is more related to like a structure of a thesis. You would then have like your introduction of the study, where you, as you can see here, where you introduce the research study. For example, you would say, in this presentation, we will delve into findings of our qualitative research on student perceptions of online learning. So you see already I'm expanding on my slide one, which this was already talking about it. So here it's more about expanding and explaining what the presentation will be about, so that the person who's being exposed to the presentation is ready to receive your presentation. Then secondly, briefly explain the research topic and its significance. For example, you would say online learning has become increasingly prevalent, and understanding student perspectives is crucial for improving educational outcomes. So here, the reason, this is more like, why are you doing the study? What's its significance within the public domain or within the body of knowledge? So the significance of the study is that because online learning is becoming very prevalent, hence, we would like to understand the perspectives of online learning so that we can continue to improve. So you would also mention the research objectives and your focus group and your methodology. So your methodology could either be a focus group or in-depth interview, one-on-one. Yeah, and here you would say our aim was to explore student experiences and challenges in online learning through focus group discussions. So, in a nutshell, in one slide, the audience is already ready and know what's coming or what the study is about. You spoke about um, what are you researching about, and why you're researching what you're researching about, which is the significance of your study, and then what will you measure and what methodology are you using. So your aim will be to explore student experiences and challenges in online learning. That's what you would like to determine from the study. Then you would then go into your methodology section, where now you talk about your focus groups. So if you're conducting focus group as your methodology, so it could either be focus group or it could be one-on-one in-depth interview. And here the choice was focus group. And so you would need to, within your slide, explain the purpose of conducting focus groups. For example, focus groups allowed us to gather in-depth insights into students' experiences. So as you can see, in-depth understanding is all about qualitative research, where either it's one-on-one interview where you're getting in-depth insights, but insights is what you will come out from, what you will pull out from what your audience is saying. So it's actually gathering your data in depth, your data in depth. So you then, after you collect your data, you then go back and actually turn the data into insights. And then also describe the participant recruitment process. For example, you would say we recruited 30 students from diverse academic backgrounds through email invitation and informed consent forms. So here you're explaining how you actually found your sample. It's actually one of the most important, because you don't want to go after or interview people that are not part of your research. So you first have to determine, if is this the correct audience or sample that I need for my current study, depending on your study. So this is a student study, so you can't just randomly go take anyone in the street. So it has to be from student group. So you would have to select someone who's a student and someone who's experienced online learning. So you you can't just go take anyone if they've never, experienced online learning, because you're trying to understand the experiences of online learning. So they must have experienced this before. Then also you would then discuss the composition of your focus group. For example, you would say each focus group consisted of 6 to 8 participants to facilitate open discussions. So also here, the slide is just, painting out the picture of how you conducted your research in terms of your methodology and who your sample was, or how you selected your sample, and how big your group was as well. Then you move on to the data collection section. Data collection is where now you have your focus group, you're recording it. The moment you press record, if you are doing it via any online conference calling like Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, or any other online, whether it's also WhatsApp or TikTok, Facebook, any of those, that moment where you are conducting your focus group, that's your data collection. Collecting data every minute that goes. Either if it's face to face, you then have to write it down, or you can have a recorder, whether you record using your phone, and then that's your data. So everything that has been said in the group is your data. So you would then have to explain how the data was collected during the focus group. Example, we recorded audio and took detailed notes during each focus group. So this is explaining to the audience how you actually collected your data, what did you do? And then you also have to mention the location and environment where the focus groups took place. For example, focus groups were conducted via Zoom to accommodate remote participants, ensuring a comfortable and familiar environment. So here, if you were in a room, for example, if you are staying in a student accommodation, you would say, if you didn't do it via any of the online platforms, you'd say focus groups were conducted face to face using a common room within a university residence, um, due to the fact that all participants of my study were all conveniently in the same location. So you could spin it any other way, which fits. So just give the reason why you selected the type of how you conducted your focus group. So also discuss any challenges or issues encountered during your data collection. For example, you might say some participants faced technical issues, but we addressed them promptly to minimize disruptions. Then you go into your data analysis section. So most commonly in qualitative research, your data analysis technique would be thematic analysis. So thematic analysis could either be done using an Excel tool that you have, or any of softwares or online platforms, which most of the case are paid, or if you manage to find a free one. But the basics are actually from the Excel type file, um, which the previous video also included how to actually conduct thematic analysis. And here, this is where you would then include some of your nuggets, or from your thematic analysis. So here you would introduce thematic analysis as a choice of method. So you'd say we employed thematic analysis to identify recurring patterns and themes within the data. So thematic analysis is always about finding topics or patterns and themes within the data. So you'd also have to explain the steps involved in thematic analysis. For example, you would say our analysis comprised data formalization, generating initial codes, searching for themes, reviewing and refining themes, and finally defining and naming themes. So this is more like the steps that you actually took in order to conduct your thematic analysis to get to kind of like your final themes. Then you also have to provide an overview of how themes were developed from the data. For example, themes derived from careful examination of transcripts and coded data. So here you could be using Excel, your Excel file, where you are also just stating that you use a transcript. So if you type it out on Excel, you're more like also transcribing what was on maybe the online platform onto Excel, so that it becomes text. Then from that you can then start coding your data. So that's basically what a data analysis section would entail, and then you would then basically just explain what you did. And then you would have your findings section, where it's also thematic analysis finding, where you present key themes that emerge from the data analysis. For example, in the study, our analysis revealed 3 major themes. Challenges of online interaction was the one theme. The next theme was adapting to self-directed learning. And the third one was technological hurdles. So from this study that I conducted about understanding students' perceptions of online learning, those are the themes that actually came out of the study as an example. And also, the use of quotes or excerpts or summaries from the focus group to illustrate each theme is also encouraged. So you would see, even if you have a certain template where it will show you where you put a theme, and then it also needs to be backed up by a quote that one of your participants actually said. So it could be multiple people that said the same, so you could choose one, or if it was one person that said a quote that related to a specific theme, you would then follow by including that quote within that same theme. So you would say you would say, for example, one student noted, "I struggled with staying engaged in online discussions," which then would link to one of the themes of challenges of online interaction. Another one would say, this illustrates the challenge of online interaction. So for maybe adapting to maybe for technological hurdles, someone might have said, I kept, dialing in and out because my network was bad. I always get kicked out of, my online class. So that would be another technological hurdle for that specific person within your group. So it also need to provide a clear and concise description of each theme. For example, each theme captures unique aspects of the student experience in online learning. And then you'd also have, your overall findings, where you present additional themes if applicable. So this could also be summary of key findings. So these might seem like they too different, but you would need to like within your, so if you have your full presentation, you would then have like a slide where you have a theme, like different themes for different slides, but then you would then have them summarized. So this is more like a summarized version of what you've done in the details. Or short presentation, you would then just show your key findings or your findings slide, where here you present additional themes if applicable. For example, in addition to the main themes, we identify several sub-themes that provide deeper insights into students' perspectives. And also you need to discuss any sub-themes or variations within the main themes. For instance, within the adapting to self-directed learning theme, we found variations related to time management and study habits. And then you'd also need to use visuals like charts or diagrams to enhance your understanding if relevant. So a chart illustrates the distribution of themes across focus groups. So if you wanted to show, although this would not be a quantitative study, but if you wanted to show, but most of the times I would suggest using maybe bubbles. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, word clouds. So word clouds, or if you do like word clouds or any other visualization which works best for for quantitative presentations or research. And then at the end, in any study, it could to conclude about your study could either be within your summary of key findings, which is the so what. So you are concluding why you conducted your study. You've done all this work and you've found the findings. You have your findings, and now so what? So here you summarize the main findings and their implications. For example, in conclusion, our research revealed valuable insights into student perceptions of online learning, which can guide improvement in online learning. So these results can guide improvement in online learning, which is the key nugget that we're taking out. So you also need to restate the importance of the research topic. For example, understanding student perspectives is crucial in shaping the future of online education. And you also need to discuss the broader implications for the future research or practical applications. For example, you would say these findings open avenues for further research on online learning experiences. So this would be more prevalent if you're doing more like your academic study. So even if you're looking into further on someone else's study within the academic sense. So if this was for example, your master, but following this flow in a thesis, you would then also have this last section where other students can also um, conduct or improve on your research, or if you suggest maybe a different demographic group to what they chose, or a different location. If your study was done in Cape Town, then you would then someone else can do it in Johannesburg or Durban or any other place. But yeah, basically this would be generally a standard flow of a qualitative research presentation after you've done your field work and every step within qualitative. There could be different templates. You could receive a different template which you need to follow. And so if maybe in corporate you get there in a certain company or agency and they have a certain template, but this was more for having most of the slides that would be included in shorter versions, but in corporate it could be shorter versions of this type of structure or flow, where you just focus on the key slides, like your sampling, you focus on your methodology and like your findings, detailed findings, and then you get your summary of key findings. So, but yeah, this is a comprehensive template for qualitative research presentation.